is not at peace, but it's not at war either. There are no bombs, no planes, no soldiers marching in the streets. But still, the world is fighting. Fighting with money, with trade, with power. At the center of this silent war, two giants, the United States and China. But something is changing. A new player is stepping in, quietly, carefully, strongly. India. Can it rise without taking sides? Can it lead without losing itself? This is the story of a country caught between two powers. And maybe, just maybe, ready to become one. Chapter 1. A War Without Guns. It began with taxes, big ones, on things like steel, phones, and even toys. In 2018, the United States said, China is not playing fair. They added taxes, called tariffs on Chinese products. China hit back. They taxed American goods too. And just like that, the world's two biggest economies were in a fight. But it wasn't a normal war. No bombs, no tanks, just deals, just money. And fear. People called it the trade war. Big companies started to worry. What will happen to our products? What if we lose money? Leaders held meetings, banks watched the numbers, and factories began to slow down. The trade war was real. It was serious, and it was getting worse. At the center of the fight were two powers, the United States, China. But something unexpected was happening. A new country was quietly rising. A country with 1.4 billion people. A country with cheap workers, smart minds, and a big dream. That country was India. India had always been big. But now it was becoming important. Why? Because companies wanted a new home, a new factory, a new future. China was strong, but risky. America was rich, but far. India was possible. Suddenly, India wasn't just another country. It was a chance, a solution, a new power in the war. Leaders in Washington said, "Let's work with India." CEOs said, "Let's move our factories there." People around the world started asking, is India the next China? Can India take China's place? But India was asking a different question. Do we want this role? Can we rise without choosing a side? Because in this new world war, this war without guns, every choice matters. Every handshake, every deal, every friend. India was in the middle. And the middle is a dangerous place. This war wasn't only about products, it was about power, control, the future. And now, India was holding a key. The key to peace. Or maybe the key to a new kind of conflict. What will India do next? The world is watching. Chapter 2. The new piece on the chessboard. For many years, India stayed quiet. It focused on itself, its people, its problems. The world was loud. China was growing fast. America was leading the game. And India watched. But things are different now. The game has changed. The players are moving. And a new piece has entered the chessboard: India. Why is India so important now? Let's start with the basics. India is big. It has more than 1.4 billion people. Many are young. Many are ready to work. India is also hungry. Hungry for progress. Hungry for jobs. Hungry for respect. The world needs workers, factories, ideas. And India says, we are here. But it's not just about size. It's about timing. The U.S.-China trade war has made things hard. Hard for business. Hard for trust. Companies don't want to depend on China anymore. They're scared. They want a plan B. And what's the best plan B? India. Phones, clothes, machines. All these things can be made in India. And slowly, companies are moving. Apple, Samsung, Toyota. Big names, big money. They are building in India. They are hiring in India. And India is smiling. But this isn't just a game of business. It's also a game of power. In politics, power is everything. And now, world leaders want India on their side. They visit. They shake hands. They talk about peace, trade, and friendship. America says India is a partner. Europe says we want to invest. Japan, Australia, even Russia. They all look at India now. Why? Because India stands in the middle. Not east. Not west, but something new. Of course, it's not easy. India has big problems too. Poverty, pollution, corruption, and millions of people still waiting for a better life. But India is changing, and fast. Its cities are growing. Its people are learning. Its voice is getting stronger. And the world is listening. In the past, India was a quiet player. Now, it's a bold one. A country with choices, with power, with dreams. The game is not over, but the board has changed. And India? India has made its move. Chapter 3. Friends in High Places. In Washington, things were changing. Old papers were being rewritten. New names were being added to the guest list. One name came again and again. India. The U.S. wanted a new friend, a strong one, a smart one, a friend that could stand next to it in the fight with China. That friend was India. Leaders smiled for cameras. They held hands. They signed papers. But behind the photos, something bigger was happening. America was opening its doors. More trade, more military deals, more promises. India was no longer just a country. It was a partner. The U.S. said, "We believe in India." And India said, "We are ready." But why this friendship now? Because the world is shifting, and China is growing stronger. China builds roads in Africa. China gives money to poor countries. China wants to lead the future. America doesn't like that. It feels the pressure. So it looks for someone to balance the game. Someone big, someone powerful, someone democratic. India is all three. The US and India started military talks. They did war games together. They signed defense agreements. Ships from both countries sailed side by side. Soldiers trained together. The message was clear. We are not alone. India also got new technology from the US satellites. Drones, intelligence, things it didn't get before. The trust was growing. So were the expectations, but not everyone was happy. China watched closely. Every visit, every handshake, and it asked, "Is India moving away from us? Will India become America's new weapon?" India said, "No, we are neutral." But the world wasn't so sure, because every friendship comes with a price. More trade with the U.S. means less trade with China. More U.S. weapons means China feels more danger. India was now walking on a thin rope. One wrong step, and things could fall. Back home, people had different opinions. Some were proud. India is finally being respected, they said. India is strong now. Others were careful. We must stay independent, they warned. No one should control us. It was a moment of power, but also a moment of choice. America was knocking on the door, with gifts, with friendship, with hopes. India opened the door. But would it walk in fully? Or would it keep one foot outside? In the world of politics, every friend can one day become a rival. India was rising, but rising with caution. The future was still open. Chapter 4: Breaking Free from China. For many years, Indian shops were full of Chinese products. Phones, toys, lights, clothes. They were cheap, easy to find, and everywhere. India needed China to buy, to build, to grow. But then, something changed. It started with a question. Why do we depend so much on China? The question became louder. Leaders asked it. People asked it. Even business owners asked it. Then came the border clash. In 2020, Indian and Chinese soldiers fought, not with guns, but with sticks and fists. In the cold mountains of Ladakh, soldiers died. The country was shocked, sad, angry. The people shouted, "Boycott China! Make in India!" And that's when the shift began. India started to look inside. It wanted to grow its own industry. It wanted to build, not just buy. The government made new rules. higher taxes on Chinese products, bans on Chinese apps, like TikTok, stronger checks at the border. It was not just a fight of soldiers now. It was a fight of economies, and India wanted to win. But it wasn't easy. China made things fast and cheap. India couldn't do that. Yet. Factories in India were slow. Machines were old. Workers needed training. But the will was strong. The country said, "We will change. We will learn. We will grow." And step by step, it started. Indian businesses got help, money, tools, support. Young people opened startups. They built Indian phones, Indian apps, Indian brands. Customers began asking, "Is this made in India?" They were proud to buy local. It wasn't just business now. It was emotion. It was identity. "We are not just a market," people said. "We are a maker." Of course, China didn't like it. It was losing money, losing trust, losing space. It warned India. It said, "Don't play politics with trade." But India kept going. This wasn't just about trade. It was about freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom to choose. Freedom to build a future on Indian soil. And the world saw it. Other countries were surprised and impressed. India, once a buyer, was now becoming a builder. And not just for itself, but for the world. More factories opened. More workers got jobs. More pride filled the streets. And somewhere deep in India's heart, a quiet voice whispered, "We are rising." Not in a loud way, but in a strong way. One brick, one product, one bold choice at a time. Chapter 5. Tensions, Borders, and Business. India and China are neighbors, but they are not close friends. They share a long border, thousands of kilometers, mountains, rivers, cold winds, but also anger, old wounds, big fears. Their history is full of tension, and sometimes things explode. In 1962, India and China went to war. It was short. It was painful. India lost land and trust. Since then, both sides have built soldiers on the border. They watch. They wait. They train in silence. There are no big battles now, but every year there are fights, stones, pushes, shouts, and sometimes death. The world watches and holds its breath. But here's the strange thing. Even with border fights, India and China still trade. They sell to each other. They buy from each other. Phones, medicine, machines, clothes. Business is business, even between rivals. But deep down, there's a problem. They don't trust each other. China says, India is getting too close to America. India says, China is getting too close to our borders. Both are right. and both are worried. In 2020, things got worse. Soldiers died in Ladakh. There were no guns, but many lives were lost. The world was shocked, and India was angry. After that, India took action. It banned Chinese apps. It pushed Chinese companies away. And it started buying more from other countries. It wasn't just about trade anymore. It was about pride and protection. But China is still strong. Very strong. It builds roads in South Asia, ports, bridges, railways. It gives loans to small countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. India feels surrounded. China is not just at the border. It's everywhere. And India is trying to catch up with its own roads, own trains, own influence. It's a race, not just in business, but in power. Still, many people in both countries say the same thing. We don't want war. They want peace, they want trade, they want jobs, but peace needs work, and trust, and smart leadership. Because both India and China are dreaming big. They want to be superpowers. They want to lead. But can two tigers live on the same mountain? Or will one try to push the other down? For now, the border is quiet, but not calm. Soldiers still wait, cameras still watch, and leaders still choose their words carefully, because one wrong move could change everything. India and China are connected by land, by history, by business, but their future is still a question mark. Will they fight with war or with trade? Will they compete or cooperate? Only time will tell. Chapter 6. A new leader, or just a middleman. The world is changing. Old powers are shaking. New voices are rising. And one voice is getting louder, stronger, more confident. That voice is India's. For years, India stood in the shadow of China. It watched. It waited. It learned. But now, it's stepping forward. India is not just a buyer anymore. It's a builder. It's not just a partner anymore. It's a player. The Make in India campaign is everywhere. On the news, on factory walls, in the hearts of young Indians. The idea is simple. Make products in India. Sell them to the world. Phones, trains, medicines, cars, all made at home. All building something bigger. National pride. The dream? To turn India into the world's factory, like China once was. But it's more than business. It's a message. India is saying, we don't want to follow. We want to lead. We don't want to copy. We want to create. We don't want to be stuck in the middle forever. And the world is listening. Leaders from Europe, America, and Asia visit New Delhi. They shake hands. They sign deals. They offer investments. India is becoming a bridge between East and West, between past and future. But being in the middle is not easy. India has to balance many things: friendship with the West, peace with China, partnerships with Russia, trade with the world. It needs to grow without choosing a side. It wants to rise without creating enemies. That's the challenge, because every step forward means someone else may feel left behind. India also has problems at home: poverty, pollution, corruption, a billion dreams, and not enough time. To lead the world, India must also fix itself. Stronger schools, better healthcare, faster roads, cleaner cities, and most of all, more hope. Because power without progress is just a show. And India doesn't want to act. It wants to be. So now the question is simple, but powerful. Will India become the new leader of the global economy, or will it just stay in the middle? Helping others rise, but never rising fully. Can it say yes to the world without saying no to its people? Can it lead and still stay true to its soul? These are the questions of our time, and India holds the answer, not with weapons, not with fear, but with its choices, its voice, its path. India is no longer watching the game, it's playing, and maybe, just maybe, it's winning.